Good morning. Hey, Jason. Welcome to Be the Solution podcast. How are you today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on this podcast, Maria, and excited to be here and
Yeah,
excited to share what I can with your audience.
I'm excited.
I wanted to be in a business that I did not have a ceiling. Take a pen and a piece of paper, draw a line, draw another line next to it. At 365 days, if you drew 365 lines, you started here with one line, but look how far you've come.
How goes it?
Doing great today. Excited to be here.
Excited to see you. Happy holidays.
Yeah, you as well.
Yeah, I'm ready for my holiday party tonight. I have my red shirt. They said it looked purple, but it looks red to me.
Well, there you go. I like it. Yeah, yesterday I was at a holiday party and my wife said I wasn't Christmassy enough, so I had to change before we headed out the door.
It's that time of year.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
good. So it's good to see you. So, gosh, you just entered the industry 7 months ago. No, I'm kidding. It's
Yeah.
been it's been quite some time. How'd you get
Yeah.
started?
Yeah. So um, I grew up kind of in the industry. My father got into real estate in 1992, and I was in junior high school, so I kind of got to watch him build his business from the ground up, and realized I never wanted to be a real estate agent when I was a kid because he was always on the phone on evenings and weekends, and I'm like, I'm never going to be a real estate agent. So I decided to pursue a college degree in civil engineering, did that for a year, and then asked a professor, so what's my career going to look like over the next 3 to 5 years? He said, you're going to be in a cubicle using software and a computer crunching numbers, and that just, like, there's no way I'm doing that. So I transferred majors into construction management where I could actually interact with people because that's my personality. And so I had some engineering courses, some business courses, and some construction courses. So it was a real nice fit my personality well. And I ended up, while I was going to college, I was flipping homes. My dad taught me kind of that process. So we were flipping homes before they even called it flipping homes back in the 90s.
Oh, what did they call it?
I don't know what we call it, just fixer uppers. We were just fixing up, rehabbing homes,
Fix
and
and flip.
making a profit. So this is before all those property ladder shows, and the profit margins were quite a bit higher because there weren't as many people doing that. So I was watching that, and I always knew I wanted to be involved in real estate investing. I just like, I don't want to be on the sales side of it. So I was always involved with these flip projects with my dad because I just went up the road to Colorado State University. It was about a 2.5 hour drive. So I'd come home on weekends and do some work with my dad flipping homes while I was getting my degree. Ended up working for a framing crew, and just literally from framing homes to installing windows and doors, installing cabinets, finished carpentry. I learned physically, I was the laborer on a lot of that. And then as I went through college and got more education and finally graduated, I was in the management side in commercial construction projects. So started working for the large corporate companies. Uh, they made a lot of promises, and I realized I didn't want to work for the man or work for somebody else. And so after I had 2 years of experience, before I even did that, I'm like, Dad, I don't want to go to college. I just want to flip homes and make a bunch of money buying and selling real estate. And he said, we're helping you with college, son. You need to finish your degree and get 2 years of experience. So I remember I had 1 year and like 10 and a half months of experience with the company right out of college. And I told them what they were wanting me to work 7 days a week. Uh, they promised certain raises that didn't happen. And my colleague said, well, you're doing a good job. That's really strange. So anyway, long story short, I called him and said, okay, I've got to wait 2 more months, but I want to come back and move back to Colorado Springs and learn the real estate sales side. And he said, they're doing what? And I explained what was going on. He goes, yeah, you pack up and move your family down or sign up for real estate school. You don't worry about it. You just give them your 2 week notice because I'm not okay with that either. So uh, I'd purchased a home in Denver and was actually gutting and remodeling it while I was living in it with my wife and 2 children. So that was a whole project, and going to real estate school. So we moved back down to Colorado Springs from Denver, and within a month of moving back to Colorado Springs with my family, my wife at the time, I came home from work one day and she said, yeah, I don't think I love you anymore and I'm too young to be a mom. Peace out. So here I just quit my comfy cush corporate job with all these benefits, and here I am with an 18-month-old and a 4-year-old as a single dad, and like not a whole lot of support. My parents were there to help, but my dad was I was a little frustrated at first, but then I thank him for it now. He said, okay, well, you know how to be a laborer. I'm going to pay you, I think it was like $14 an hour. And I just bought 2 homes. And so you can strap on your tool belt, drop the kids off at daycare at 6 o'clock in the morning, work till noon or 1, clean up, come into the office, and I'll teach you real estate from 1 o'clock to 7 o'clock at night. And that's what I did. I did that for 6 months. And he said, oh, by the way, all the people you referred to me while you were in high school and college, those people that I've closed deals with, those are my clients. Those aren't yours. You can't have them back. And I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So I realized real quick that I needed to build a client database. And I literally started door knocking and cold calling and reaching out to everyone I ever knew at that time. So I grew up in Colorado Springs. I'm a native of Colorado. And so that's how I got into real estate. That's how I really got going. And I just didn't give up. So yeah, it's just been a journey.
It's a lot. That's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot, but it's made me who I am today.
Exactly. So what year was all this happen?
This happened in 2003. So this is right when, right after the tech bubble burst in 2001, and homes just started increasing in value, and builders started building a ton of inventory, and we were off to the races. And yeah, that started in 2003.
In 2003. So you were licensed in 03?
Yes, in June of 2003.
And you had your first closing when?
So that would be November 2003. And I can tell you the story. I decided I was going to go. I was younger. I was in my 20s. And I'm like, well, I need to teach people that renting is, if you can afford rent, you can buy. And so I started door knocking apartments and these rental units, and I started getting chased off by the property managers. But I remember the very first time I just, here's a little tip. I was working on handouts because I'm like, I got to hand them something. And I remember sitting in my office working all day on this little flyer. I didn't know what I was going to put together. And my dad said, just get out there. Just get out there. You're spending too much time on your marketing. I wanted it to be perfect. He's like, just print it out and go. So I left after spending a stupid whole day on this little flyer that I was going to hand out. And I just had faith that it was going to work. On the 12th door that I knocked on, I came across this young couple, this guy, and he answers the door, and I thought he was going to yell at me like the first 10 people did. And he said, actually, this is my girlfriend's apartment. I own a house on the other side of town. I'm wanting to sell it and buy something closer to her. We don't have a realtor. So that was my first 2 closings. And it just was off to the races from there. And so I don't know how many of you out there have done door knocking, or if you've done door knocking. That's not normally how it works. You don't knock, and on your 12th door you get 2 closings. Like that never happened again after 12 doors. Probably hundreds of doors later. But I believe in God, and I believe in the efforts you put forward will be rewarded, whether it's in your direct actions or whether you're taking action here and things show up in your life in other areas. So that's when
I did door knocking because I started door knocking when I was 10, selling Christmas cards and Hanukkah cards and wrapping paper. I would go door to door.
Well, that's funny.
Would you like to buy? Would you like to buy some Christmas cards or wrapping paper?
Yeah. Well, that reminds me. I guess I didn't have a fear of door knocking because I was similar. I'm an Eagle Scout, and my parents had me in Cub Scouts, and so I was the kids walking around the neighborhood selling popcorn. And it's funny that you say that because 3 years in a row I won the top salesperson in the entire city, and I won a bicycle every year, selling hundreds and hundreds of boxes of popcorn. So I guess
you had
it was
no idea that you were getting primed.
Yeah, so that got me ready to be knocking doors here for real estate. So yeah, that was a humble beginning for sure. And those first 2 closings allowed me to put money in savings to pay my bills, to just stop doing the construction labor portion of it after about 6 months, and then focus 100% on building my real estate business.
Well, if you have a dream and you believe and you keep at it and you keep focused, then things start to come into reality, right?
Yeah, and
It's
I didn't have a choice. I wasn't going to go back working for the man, and I was a father of an 18-month-old and a 4-year-old. And I'll never forget, because right after my wife at the time, my ex-wife, left me, my 18-month-old would wake up every night crying for mom for a week, and I would go in there and console him. And then a whole next week, he woke up crying for dad, and I would rock him to sleep in the middle of the night. And then by the third week, he just realized, okay, mom's not going to be here, and I was the caretaker, and he was moving forward. So that's what was driving me to be successful. I had 2 children to take forward, take care of, and that's a huge thing to do at a young age. I was 25 years old, and it was a big responsibility, but that was a part of what's helped drive me. Is, I wasn't going to just give in and throw in the towel and be like, oh, I'll just go back to my corporate job, because I could have applied, and construction was booming. I mean, that was before the bubble burst. So there was construction jobs and tower cranes and dirt flying everywhere in the early 2000s. And I could have easily just jumped back into a corporate cush job, but I didn't give up. So.
And I think that's an important lesson. And the value of the compound effect, right? Because when we opened the podcast, I played that little clip. And that's exactly what happened. Every day you went and you got a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better, to the point where 6 months later, you're having your closings, making money, putting some money in the bank, being able to support your family. I mean, you had a big why. A lot of people have that same why, but not everybody does. So it made it.
I wasn't that overnight success that sometimes you hear of. Oh, my first year in real estate, I crushed it and sold 60 homes. I wish. My first full 12 months of the business, you know how many homes I did sell?
22.
14.
Okay.
14. But that's okay, because this year we're going to be almost at 150 transactions, and we've been doing that for about 10 years in a row. So, it was a good humbling start. And like you said, just that compound effect. If we can just be 1% better every day, it adds up.
Exactly. So you were saying, we were talking a little bit behind stage about your new company. Now, Finch and Gable is about 1.5 years old, or how?
Yeah, this February it'll be 2 years.
Okay, so years. I was close.
Yeah.
What makes you different?
So I was with a large franchise that you may be very familiar with, Maria, for 17 years, and I owned a brokerage with that franchise for 5 of those 17 years. And it was very good to me. I learned a lot at that with that company, very reputable company today. I just felt like something needed to be done different. And my wife and just so everyone knows, I met my current wife in 2005. We got married in 2006, and we have 4 children. So now we have 6 children. And she's been my life partner, my business partner. Yeah, so she's very much been an integral part of Finch and Gable Real Estate Company and our journey. And we just felt like real estate industry overall is kind of broken. If it wasn't that way, we wouldn't have competitors, people coming in like Zillow and Open Door and Redfin and all these people trying to disrupt the spaces, because it's broken. It's broken one of 2 ways. The first way it's broken is how are we delivering service to the consumer? Secondly, we believe it's broken on how it's set up with agents and independent contractors all running their little micro businesses, and there's not a lot of people pulling in the same direction. So we'll start with the consumer side, where we want to make sure that all of our marketing and our advertising is consumer focused, and we actually make the consumer the hero in the story, and the real estate agent and Finch and Gable, we're just the guide. We believe that everyone has a story. In fact, we are launching a series of videos, and if you go to our website, it's www.finchandgable.com. We have a blog section, and we have a couple of trailers up of some videos, and we're going to be doing a whole series of these, but it's called Finch and Gable Stories, where we actually do a video interview of our clients, and we talk about their lives and what's important to them. So we're really shifting it to being client-centric and client-focused. And so we started looking at, some of these large companies like Zillow and some of these other companies that are outside of real estate, and we are modeling ourselves after these Fortune 500 companies that are going direct to consumer. And so that's how we're different there, is the way we market and advertise. Also, what we found is there's a lot of third-party companies, and those that are you in the industry, and you, Maria, probably know there's a lot of companies that are selling leads, or they're basically churning leads and turning them into referral fees. And so the agents and the brokers are losing control of their consumers. And so as an agent or a broker, as a business owner, you're beholden to whatever price they want to charge for the leads. You're beholden to whatever referral fee they want to go. And as we know, referral fees have almost doubled in the last 2 decades from what they used to be years and years ago. So we decided we're going to take control of that and go direct to get a consumer. And we've created a very advanced marketing platform where we're on TV, radio, print, digital. We're on YouTube. We're on Google. We're on every nook and cranny we can be. So we're promoting Finch and Gable, and it's all about the consumer, the client, and their experience. So, any questions on that side of it?
So how are you? You're at so many places. You're hitting everybody from all angles. Everybody probably says, "I see you everywhere."
We do. You know, right here in Colorado Springs, it's funny because at the event we were at last night, it's the top 100 real estate agents in the city. And the conversation when people would approach my wife and I last night is, "Oh my gosh, what are you guys doing? We see you everywhere. We love your commercials." So what does that say when you have 100 of the top agents and at least, conversations with a dozen of them, they start off with, "Oh my gosh, wow, what are you doing? We see you everywhere." So it's working. And we literally, we had to come up with a strategy. We launched this only back in May, and so we're not even into a year of it. And people are calling us when we talk about the consumers. I just sat down with the seller, what was this, Thursday last week. And they said, that we've actually had a 15-year relationship with another real estate agent. My husband wanted to use that agent, but I saw your commercials. I've heard you on the radio, and I see you everywhere. Number one, you're everywhere. So if you're that persistent in your marketing, we know you're going to do a good job for us. Number two, the way you're advertising is different than anyone else we've ever seen in this industry. And for that reason, we knew we had to have you to list and sell our home. And it's a smaller home, but it was about a $600,000 property. And it's just good to get that feedback and all the effort and the work that we've put behind the strategies and the people that we brought on board to help us with these strategies for the last 2 years. So we know it's working, and we've only just started. And so that's the direction we're going on the consumer side. On the real estate side, what we're doing is we are working with agents that don't mind that their picture and name are on the sign or in the marketing. My company used to be Jason Daniels and Associates at Brokerage XYZ, where I used to own the brokerage or where I used to hang my license. Now it's just Finch and Gable Real Estate Company. On our yard signs, it's just our logo. We have one phone number, and that's the same phone number that are on our radio ads or everywhere. It's the one consumer-facing phone number, and then we have our website. That's all we have on our yard signs. So we explain to the agents that are coming onto our team that we are working together as a true team, and we encourage everyone to build their own sphere and work within the brand so our branding is consistent. And we don't want them to be paying for their own marketing or paying for their own leads. We have a system where we take care of all of that. So when they team up with Finch and Gable, what they're doing is they're helping hiring one of the top advertising agencies in the Front Range of Colorado. They're teaming up. We have a whole suite of specialists in our office that are administrative staff that help them through the transaction. They're hiring the top operations team in the city to help them through those transactions. And that really, we actually have an inside sales department that takes all these phone calls and everything that's funneling in for marketing, and they're setting appointments for these agents, putting them on their calendar so we can take agents and just say, we want you to focus on what you do good. You love working with people. You love showing houses and negotiating contracts. We want you in that space 90% plus of your time. And it really puts them in a zone where they can succeed. And they have literally hardly any expenses out of their pocket. So it's different than the traditional brokerage where, the agent gets a huge chunk of the commission, but yet they have to pay desk fees. They have to pay marketing. All of a sudden they're told they need to shoot videos 5 times a day, and it just takes all the stress from the agents thinking they have to build their own business, and they're tapping into our business that everything's done for them. They just need to be committed and dedicated to working within the system. Now there's leeway for them to create their own identity with their own sphere groups, and if their kids are playing soccer and they're putting out their they're using our branding to brand to their sphere, but overall to the overall marketplace, we don't have agents doing independent marketing, which frees up a bunch of hassle, stress, and headache for agents. That it also lowers the barrier for, we find that the agents that are new to the business, they don't understand what it takes to be successful, but after they meet with us, they get a good understanding. We encourage them to go interview with other brokers because what we're doing is completely different. In fact, I believe you have a program similar to ours. We have a scholarship program, and we will bring on experienced agents, but we also don't mind bringing on people that are brand new to the industry, and we've had success with that. So it's a new way of doing business on the back end for the agent. It's a good experience because they have more control over their schedule, and they're not having to figure it all out from scratch. They're coming in, we've got it figured out, we're moving forward together as a team, we're all moving in the same direction, our marketing is very consistent, we have a proven client process. In fact, we have a whole client care procedure where we take care of our clients, and that's part of our whole system for building repeat and referral business that's already built in. So when people come in and they have a list of people that's in their personal sphere, they just tap in, and we have 6 client events a year. We have a series of gifts that we send out when they work with us. And so, I mean, that could be a whole podcast in and itself. But what I'm saying is we have developed all these things over the last almost 2 decades of experience where we're bringing people on. And so that's where we're different. And in fact, I know you commented on Facebook, we opened our 2nd office location in Denver. So we're located in the Denver Tech Center. So we cover the whole Front Range, and what we're doing is different. So that's how it's different on the agent side. And I know I've been talking a lot. We're just super excited about what we're doing. What other questions do you have?
It's fantastic, Jason. Good stuff. Good stuff. So you mentioned a few things in regards to your marketing suite. So my understanding is that the agents that come into your company, they're just plugging into a system that's already proven that you developed over the last couple decades, and it allows them to have either more time or more money, so that they can focus on either making more money because you free up that time, or having more time with their family.
Yes, that's absolutely 100%. What we find is the agents that are brand new to the industry, and it's not for everyone, but for the most part, most of the new people, their goal is money. Like, we're into this industry, and our goal is to have an agent, if they choose to tap into our system and do the things that we ask them to do, and they choose to be proactive and they're committed to the things, then we want to make sure that they're hitting a 6-figure plus income within that 12 to 18 months of being brand new to the business. And we've had agents doing it again and again that are joining us. And so, like I said, not everyone's cut out for real estate, and not everyone's committed once they get in there and realize what it is to doing it. And so, and you heard this before too, we share a coach together, and John Cheplack, and he says, our job is to provide an environment where people can choose to be successful. We can't make anyone successful. In fact, I try and stay out of the hiring process till the very end, because I just love people, and I just believe in people, and I have hope that they're going to be successful. And sometimes I just want it more than someone else does, and I realize that's kind of one of my downfalls. So I could
appreciate that. I have the same that's one of my downfalls. I always wanting things more, but I've learned a lot over the last several years, but I still catch myself.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's the learning curve we have now is, okay, how do we find the right people, and how do we provide tension and not stress? If people have committed to following our set of core values, our standards and principles, then it's those that are going to help everyone move forward as a team. And we want to know, we operate in a world of what's best for everyone, it's not what's best for me, for Jason, or for my wife, or for my family. I was interviewing with somebody that we were thinking about bringing on board to our team, and the person said, well, I can get a better deal over XYZ because I need to look out for my family. I said, I can appreciate that. We all need to look out for our family. And this is what we have to offer here, and we have to look out for everyone and their families here. And so, we have 20 people and their families to worry about. And so we want to make decisions that's based in, for everyone as a whole, so we can all move forward and be successful. And so it's just finding those key people is what I'm finding. This is, a human resource and human development, which is really what I get excited about. I mean, I've been doing the sales side. I love sales. Real estate's been very good to me, but this is a new challenge and a new area that I'm learning and growing. And this has been a really good year for that. So yes, that's what we're learning at Finch and Gable.
It's always a lifelong lesson. Learning is always a lifelong lesson, right? And it's all about the journey. You wouldn't want to change that. So speaking of the journey, where are you going from here in 2022 and beyond?
So 2022 and beyond. So we just opened our Denver location. We are looking for a location in Boulder, just north of Denver, to open an office location there. And we're also looking to open another location within 12 to 18 months in Fort Collins, Colorado, which is just north of Boulder off of I-25. So we will have complete coverage on the front range of Colorado, basically, where the mountain ranges are. I-25, we cover that whole up and down that I-25 corridor in Colorado. And then we have a big, hairy, audacious goal that within 3 years will be in 7 additional states. We have some connections in Idaho, Utah, Nevada, Arizona, Texas, Florida, and North Carolina. So if anyone's listening out there and you're in any of those states and you'd like more information, I'd love to have a conversation with you, because we want to bring Finch and Gable out to be a national company. And so that's our goal. And
that's some big plans there.
It is. It is. And, we're looking for leaders that can help us get there. And we found that when we just said, we want to be the biggest and baddest in our little town in Colorado Springs, that was cool. We thought that was awesome. But when we actually sat down and mapped it out for what we thought would be great for the company and how we can provide the most opportunity for the company, and most importantly, part of our model is to give back to the community. We're local leaders at Finch and Gable, and that is our mantra. We're local leaders. We want to help people move up. We want to help agents move up in their career. We want to help people move up. That's our target market. Move up buyers, and certainly we want our communities to move up. So we look to give back to local communities, nonprofits, and how can we help like underprivileged youth or homeless, or what can we do not only with donating money but time. Our team is committed to serving, and they're volunteering on a monthly basis for different local organizations. And so as we go out into other cities, other states, other communities, we want to make sure that stays a key focus. How can we help people move up? And so that's what we're looking for. As we thought about this and built this and we sat down and wrote it down, Maria, people have been more excited. It's been like a huge magnet to recruit people for growth, because everyone's drawn to growth. Everyone wants to be a part of something bigger. And at first it was really scary. It's like, we're going to do this. I don't know how, but we're going to team up with the right people. And it's just been a magnet. When we share this with people, they're like, I want to be a part of Finch and Gable. It just sounds amazing. And so it's been a real fun journey. And we've been a little shocked and surprised by some of the people that we were able to work with some of the advertising agencies, some of the companies that have agreed to work with us. I mean, we've worked with companies where the founders of these companies were with Nike for 13 years as the head creative director. We've worked with companies that have built companies and turned them in from a $4 million revenue company to a $250 million revenue company. And so it's just amazing. So from the people that we're working with on our team, the vendors, the people that we're working with, like the level and the quality with, just by picking up the phone, going, I don't know if they're going to work with us, but why not ask? We're reaching out to the people that were doing advertising for Nike, and we're starting to think bigger. We feel like, okay, we were a small fish in a small pond. Now we want to be a small fish in a big pond, and then eventually grow from there. So the lesson from there is just think bigger and just have these crazy goals and then take action. And all people can say is no. And what we found is people have been very intrigued with what we're building.
That's awesome. That's great stuff. I have a question for you. So you put a lot of stuff out there and you're doing a lot of things. What did you have to overcome in order to be where you are now?
Let's see. Well, there's a lot of things that we've had to overcome, a lot of fears that we've had to overcome. Honestly, there's a lot of work that I've been doing this year with my coach and with other people in my life as far as identifying, okay, I thought everything was great, and just identifying, hey, I feel like I had to recognize this, that I'm still operating at a certain level out of certain fears. So it's shining the light on those fears and understanding what those are so we can help break them down and move past those barriers. And so I felt like for the last 5 years, I was hitting a glass ceiling. And it's finally this year, I feel like we're peeling away the layers, and it's still like a glass ceiling of like multiple layers. And I feel like we're busting through it, and it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 3 steps forward, 1 step back. But it's a lot of work on myself and taking 100% ownership of, hey, I made a mistake here. How did I participate in that? And how can we not do that again? And just learning how to build relationships where there's ownership on both sides of that relationship and not setting up false expectations. Like I said, I feel like I'm understanding that building a business, any business, it's not just real estate, is human resources, the greatest capital that any business can have. And it's taking care of the people, taking care of your clients, and creating those relationships that you can build trust and move forward on. And so those are honestly some of the biggest hurdles, and they may not sound sexy and they may sound a little bit convoluted because they may not be clear to the audience, but just thinking back through the years, that I believe that everyone has things that they need to work through, and potentially anyone can be operating out of a level of fear or not taking 100% ownership of their past. And really, those are our coach John says, it's those little hinges that swing big doors. And it sounds cliche, but that's really, it's as simple as that. It's not easy, but it's really that simple.
Yep. That is also true. That is also true. So I'm a reader of books. How about you? Are you a podcast or you into books?
Books. I'm trying to get more into podcasts, but I'm trying to just catch up with all the books that everyone likes to read. I tend to like fall asleep when I read an actual book. So my wife's got me more involved with Audible and reading books that way. So I'm driving, or I'm at the gym working out, or on an airplane, I can just listen.
Anything right now that you're reading that would be something you want to share with the audience?
Right now, like I said, I'm doing some internal work, and these are books that our coaches recommended, and it's The Heart of the Soul. That's a really good book to kind of just
Gary Zukav.
Yeah, Zary Zukav. And then, it just happened to be, I was just curious about it. So I'm listening to Crushing It with Gary Vaynerchuk.
Gary V, yep.
Yep, Gary V. There's a lot of good standards that we are reviewing annually every year. Eat That Frog with Brian Tracy is a great book just to refocus on what's important.
Eat That Frog is a great little book. It's a quick read.
When we are with our agents and our new agents that come on board and new agents that come onto our team, fanatical prospecting is just like a go-to. And even at the level that we're at, I'm at, where we're always recruiting agents, we're always looking for, obviously new clients. It's just a way to sharpen your skills in the actual prospecting so we can stay in that. We're reading as a leadership team. We formed a reading group with our leadership team, and we're committed to, I've ordered the books and they're on their way, 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. That's a really good book. I've read that several times, but it's just a simple principle.
Lencioni.
Yep. Patrick Lencioni. He's got a lot of great books out there.
He does.
And they're easy to read because he writes them in the form of a parable. So it's like almost entertaining.
I love that. It is that's actually pretty entertaining.
It is.
When they're on their retreat.
And then really also a series of books that I'm just, instead of reading a ton of new books this year, I'm actually just going back through the books that have solid business principles, character building. So right now I'm rereading many of Gino Wickman's books, like Traction, Rocket Fuel, Get a Grip, How to Be a Great Boss. These are all books on how to structure a small business or mid-sized business even, how to properly set them up so they can run efficiently, and then also how to take care of people. And those are just some really solid books that I'd recommend as well.
Sounds all so easy, but it's oh so not easy.
Yeah, it's simple, right? It's simple. If we just do what we're supposed to every day, then if we start at A, we should get to Z.
Right. But we
Life,
have things that happen in our life that come in, and we have to be able to handle them properly. And it's all about your response of
yeah,
it.
that's life happens, right?
Yeah. But hey, listen, we have best intentions for the day. And then all of a sudden, things come out
Yeah.
sideways and this way and that way.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing I learned in your earlier question is what else. I had a breakthrough, honestly, and I haven't shared it with a lot of people, and I don't mind sharing it here with how many ever people are watching this or will listen to this, probably hundreds, maybe thousands, I don't know. I had a realization that I had expectations that I had set up for myself. And all of us, most of us, especially those that are hard driving and hard charging, we're harder on ourselves than other people are harder, than on us. And I can, just knowing our conversations that we've had in the past, Maria, I'm sure you're harder on yourself than anyone else as well. Well, being hard driven, I was very hard on myself, but I started setting up expectations for people in my life, personally and in the business. And that's where I ended up creating a lot of issues and stress and tension. Was if someone else's expectations that I had for them didn't align what I was expecting for, it was causing me frustration, and it was causing rifts in those individual relationships. And so it wasn't, and this literally has just been over the last several months, I realized the only person that I can have expectations for is myself. I can set expectations for my business, but if my business does not meet my expectations, then I have to look and hold that mirror back up and go, okay, that's my business. I need to take ownership in that. So it kind of was really freeing for me to realize, okay, I either need to take care of something myself, or just not set those expectations and help coach others up to their own expectations. And if someone else's expectations don't match up to what the company needs, then we need to backfill that area, or we need to maybe find someone else to fill that seat. And it's just that simple, because unmet expectations it can cause physical sickness. It can cause mental stress, not only for you personally, but for the people that you've set these on. And for me, I'm just unpacking this, and this is a very personal thing that I didn't know I'd really get into on this, but it's been a really freeing to just be able to not have all these expectations. I just burned them up, and now I'm just kind of working through that. So we'll see where that takes me, but I feel like that's one of the key barriers that I've just broken through personally to help us grow my personal relationships. And my wife and I really do have a wonderful relationship, but this is taking it to the next level with us personally, but with my children, with the people on my leadership team, down to everyone in our company.
Wow. That's fabulous. You have a lot of really great things going on, and a lot of things to be grateful and thankful for.
Absolutely.
It's good stuff. Well, I wish you, Jason, you and your family, Janae, and all the kids. I didn't know you had 6 kids, so that was a new thing I learned today.
Yeah, that's, being in the industry for 2 decades and having 6 children does this to you. That's why.
Yes. It looks good. Looking good.
Exactly.
Hair's looking good.
Well, my kids keep me young. I've got to chase them around the house still. We still have a 5-year-old at home, and our oldest is 23, and who knows, he's married. We may have grandchildren in the next couple of years. So.
Oh, wonderful. It's wonderful. Well, I'm blessed and grateful to have you on the show today. So thank you for being the solution. And I'm very happy for you and your company and your family that you have success that you have in such a short amount of time with Finch and Gable. So keep up the great work with that. And I hope to see you soon, in maybe January and February, or one of these things that's going on.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you so much, Maria, for having me on here. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. Go to my website, www.finchandgable.com, and you can send me a message, connect. I'm willing to help others if you have questions. I love networking across the United States. And of course, if anyone has any referrals in the state of Colorado, we cover about half the state. If you have a referral need in the other half of the state, we have other referral partners to help you out. But we just want to, be a resource for people to help their businesses grow, because we want to be the solution, and we're happy to help you as well.
Absolutely.
Merry
I
Christmas.
dropped the website in the link, so you can
Perfect.
drop their direct number if you want, an email in there,
Great.
and that'd be awesome. It's great to see you. Merry
Awesome.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Thanks, Maria. Have a great day.